What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package and infrastructure update and daily news report for Tuesday, April 27th. We have a lot to cover today, so I just want to thank you guys for coming on and watching. If you can, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button. It does help out the channel, and let's get started. First, President Biden is following in former President Donald Trump's footsteps, where President Biden in the next couple of weeks will be sending out a letter. And in this letter, he is going to explain how he fulfilled his promise of sending the American people an additional $1,400 stimulus check. Now, this should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And in this letter, it states, and I quote, "If you haven't received your payment within 7 days of receiving this letter, please check the status of your payment by visiting the IRS website or calling the IRS phone number listed at the bottom of this letter." So, like I stated a couple of weeks ago, you want to wait for this letter. This letter right here is going to pretty much be that thing that pushes you and propels you forward, and now it allows you to go and have the IRS do a payment trace and say, hey, where's my payment? I get the letter that says you sent me a payment, but I've never received the $1,400. So this should actually speed up the process once you have the letter in hand. So just keep that in mind if you don't have your payment yet, but you will receive the letter in a couple weeks. Then wait 7 days after that letter, and if the payment has still not arrived, you need to contact the IRS. Now, in regards to the fourth stimulus check, lawmakers are still pushing for this. I addressed this the other day, and I mentioned how tomorrow on Wednesday, when President Biden unveils his potentially $1.8 trillion infrastructure bill, this is part 2 of the infrastructure plan. Once he unveils this, chances are we're going to have more of an indication as to where not only President Biden stands, but where Democrats are standing at this point regarding additional stimulus. This is not just a stimulus check either. This is talking about unemployment benefits, child tax credits, rental assistance, any type of relief that is considered stimulus. That is what we are looking for. Now, my thinking and my thought process is President Biden is not going to come out and just say, hey, I want an additional stimulus check. But what we could potentially see is he's going to indicate where he's willing to maybe negotiate. He's going to indicate where he's willing to have some concessions, and so we will see what happens. But again, this is coming out tomorrow. So today we could see a little bit of pushing and shoving amongst Republicans and Democrats, trying to get their ideas into his speech or into his unveiling. That's going to come out sometime tomorrow. So that is good news there, but we will see what happens. What I can tell you is that right now lawmakers are saying that additional stimulus is needed by many, and that the $1,400 stimulus checks that President Biden sent out, even though he said the $600 that President Trump sent out was a down payment on what was to come, what we know is lawmakers are saying that the $1,400 should not be the end. This should be the start of additional payments. So again, they are talking about payments, not a one-time payment. They want to see additional payments, monthly, recurring, periodic. I don't think they care at this point. They just want to see something that is going to stimulate the economy. Now, we have some news on this, because what we saw happen yesterday, and again, this is extremely important, but what we saw happen yesterday could change the trajectory of what we see Democrats propose. And some experts are already saying that we will see big, bold legislation because Democrats cannot fail. And as of right now, they are likely to fail in the upcoming election. I'll explain why in just a minute. Now, we know sometime today, President Biden is supposed to announce what the new mask mandates are. Tomorrow, we will have a good understanding of what is going to be in his infrastructure bill. It's going to be roughly $1.8 trillion, and this is just part 2 of the bill. The other bill, the first part, was $2.25 trillion, so the whole thing combined is a little bit over $4 trillion. Lawmakers, right now, they say they know where President Biden stands on additional stimulus, but what they say is they want to know where the whole party stands, and can we get additional relief to the American people? Most say that yes, we can, it's feasible, it's doable, and we should do it. Others say no, it's not something that we need to do right now because we just passed a stimulus check. But this is one of the reasons why yesterday, and if you didn't get to watch any of the videos I did yesterday, I highly recommend you go and watch them, because this is where Senator Josh Hawley, who's a Republican, proposed a family tax credit where he's not paying children like the child tax credit is. He is paying families. He's going to give them $1,000 per month or $12,000 per year for a couple, or an individual, somebody that's filing single, is going to receive $6,000 or $500 per month. So this is actually pretty good, because now Republicans and Democrats are changing the way they address relief and not calling it stimulus, because many senators, like Senator Joe Manchin, who is more centrist or moderate Democrat, these are people that say, well, we just passed a stimulus check, so we don't need to pass another one. We should deal with the child tax credits. Well, that's essentially what they're doing. They're just shifting and changing the verbiage to make it more appealing to moderate Democrats that are currently in the Senate. So we will see what happens there. But as always, as I know more, I promise I'll fill you in on all those details. Here's what we know. I said this a couple weeks ago that I currently don't believe President Biden would support an additional stimulus check. Honestly, I still don't. That he's not going to support a stimulus check at this point. Okay? Keep that in mind, at this point. But I believe this is going to go on for a couple of months. I believe he's going to stand firm with no stimulus checks. Let's just do infrastructure. And this is going to go on and go back and forth through negotiations for the next month or two. But I do expect, and many other experts, I'm not saying I'm an expert, I'm just a guy on YouTube, giving you these daily updates, but many experts, people in the White House, are saying they believe once President Biden sees that progressives are not going to back down and that progressives will not vote for his bill, if it doesn't include more of their provisions, then President Biden will step up and support an additional stimulus check. So we will see what happens there. But again, as this entire thing unfolds, I will fill you in on all the details. Now, something else that is making this entire package even more difficult and even more intriguing, just yesterday. News broke yesterday that many states are losing their congressional seats. This happened yesterday. We knew there was reports on this. We knew that this was coming. We didn't know exactly how many. Let me just give you an idea, okay? Because there's a decent amount of states. Now, Democrats at this point, okay, they now have a bigger incentive to go big and pass big and bold legislation that the American people want. And what do the American people want? Well, one lawmaker said the American people want to see another stimulus check, expand child tax credits, more unemployment benefits. These are all things that are considered extremely popular amongst the American people. Now, here's what we know. We know that the states that end up losing one seat are Illinois, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and California. All of those lost one seat. In New York, just giving you an idea how close this was, the consensus, or the census was, if there were 89 additional people that showed up in New York, right? Just random people, then New York would not have lost their one seat. That is how close this was. New York and California, according to Bloomberg, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars for their census, where states like Texas barely spent anything. But Texas, they will gain 2 seats in 2022, I believe. I think it's 2022, 2023, somewhere around there. In the next Congress, when that starts, I think that's 2022. And then the people the states that got one seat are Colorado, Florida, New York, or North Carolina, and Oregon. They each will receive one additional seat. So this is actually pretty big, because experts are currently saying that the shift in congressional seats is mostly due to people leaving certain states to live where it is actually cheaper. Okay, well, people are leaving because it's too expensive in states like New York and California. Okay, they're leaving, going to other states. A lot of them are going to Texas. But one thing that they're saying as of right now is, if the states would have provided more of an incentive, provided more relief, provided more assistance to these residents, then they would never have left. So, other major news that broke this morning as well, President Biden sometime today is expected to sign an executive order to increase the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour. However, here's the difference. This is not for just regular everyday workers. This executive order will only be for the pay of federal contract workers. So if you're not a federal contract worker, your pay would not increase. The current federal minimum wage for a contract worker is actually $10.95. And his executive order is supposed to go in effect on March 30th, 2022. So we're about a year away. But they do want to see there's changes made starting on January 1st in 2022. So we will see what happens there. That doesn't affect a lot of people. That's probably a few 100,000 people that are federal contract workers. But this is going to be a stepping stone to see where we go with the federal minimum wage for everybody. Currently, $7.25. So a $15 minimum wage would definitely be a big boost to a lot of people. Raising the minimum wage was one of the promises that President Biden made. Now, this wasn't really a campaign promise like forgiving student debt or providing $200 per month for people on Social Security, but this was one of those promises that he mentioned multiple times, is to increase the minimum wage. But here's what we know. He wants to see everybody have the ability right now to provide for themselves and their family, but when it comes to other things, there's other promises that some experts say they're a little bit more important at this time, because there are a group of people that cannot provide for themselves because they cannot work. Not because they don't want to, it's because they can't. These are people usually on SSI and SSDI. These are usually elderly people. They are disabled. They can't go to work like many people can. Maybe they don't have a car. They don't have the transportation to get to work and get back home from work. So what we are not hearing at this point, and I want to provide you some details on this, is we're not hearing much on the $200 per month for the SSI and SSDI boost. This was a campaign promise under President Biden. Well, according to CNN and Bloomberg and the Washington Post, under the Senate's rules, okay, the Senate has different rules, and it's very frustrating, especially if you just want something to pass. Under the Senate's rules, nothing regarding Social Security can be changed using a budget reconciliation, which means, as of right now, Democrats believe the only way to get this infrastructure bill passed is through a budget reconciliation. If they don't do a budget reconciliation, that means they have to get over the Senate's 60 vote minimum, and in order to do that, they need 10 Republican votes, which as of right now is seen as highly unlikely. So, under the current rules in the Senate, there is no way to include anything for Social Security directly if it is attached to the infrastructure bill. If the infrastructure bill is going to pass, and most predict it will, if this passes through a budget reconciliation. So, I know this is tough to hear, but that is currently what we know. I promise I don't come on here just to breathe the bearer of bad news, but I want to fill you in on all the details and give you the facts as we get them. Again, I don't know everything that has to do with Congress. Understanding the Senate's rules, honestly, is way over my head, but I try to understand it the best I could, and this is what we are getting. This is according to CNN, Bloomberg, and the Washington Post, is that you can't do anything regarding Social Security under a budget reconciliation. If anybody knows anything different, I would gladly accept any help from you guys down in the comment section below, but that is what we know according to 3 main sources. So, again, I'm no expert on the Senate's rules. I don't think anybody is, but that is currently what we're hearing. So, something else we are also hearing, this regards the House, is House Ways and Means Chairman Richard Neal. He's introduced a massive social program infrastructure bill, okay, or infrastructure package. This is something that he wants to see. He's calling this the Building the Economy for Families Act. And in this act, the bill is aimed at making enhancements to the child tax credits and making it more permanent. He wants to see this not just go to 2025, but go permanently every single year. He also wants to expand paid family leave, which is actually pretty big and does apply to people that are self-employed, and boosting access to child care for Americans. This is something that he sees as a vital piece of legislation as well. In his plan, he would move to make the child tax credit and earned income credits, these changes, permanent. Again, the earned income credit, this tripled just over the past year. The child tax credit went from $2,000 per year for every single child to $3,000 or $3,600. So, fairly big jump there as well. In this new plan, in this Building the Economy for Families Act, he also wants to provide 12 weeks of universal paid medical and family leave. Again, this would include those that are currently self-employed. One thing that the bill does miss, though, and this is something that some experts pointed out very quickly, is it doesn't include any enhancements of the Affordable Cares Act premium subsidies. And this is something that Nancy Pelosi, she stated last week, I think on Thursday, that this is something that she is hardlining on. She will not budge. She wants to see the Affordable Care Act premium subsidies extended past just this year. So we will see what happens there. But again, right now, what we're going to wait on is just President Biden to go unveil his $1.8 trillion infrastructure bill sometime tomorrow. My guess is we will get leaks. We will get updates on this sometime throughout the day. As we do, I promise I will fill you in on all those details. But in other news, multiple states are experiencing a surge in COVID cases, and some are seeing a spike in hospitalizations. Some experts worry that if we don't take a proactive approach now, then we could see another wave of cases, which will send states backwards, which is not great. Health officials are also saying that millions of Americans are getting their first dose. However, they completely skip their second dose of the vaccine. And experts are warning that if you don't have both doses, that you would not have this the vaccine, but also it's not going to affect you. Okay, so even though you don't get both doses, this isn't going to impact you or isn't going to benefit you, but at the same time, it's not going to be detrimental to your health either. So as of right now, they say you need both doses unless you're getting Johnson & Johnson, which is just one vaccine. We also know, which is pretty big news, that Pfizer is working on a single pill cure for COVID. They stated this morning, but they also say if they find success with this pill, that they could have it available later on this year. So there's a lot of news coming out right now, but as always, as I know more, I promise I will come back and share more. Just want to thank you guys for watching. As always, if you can do me a favor, hit that like button, consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.